Today we have Satish Chapparike speaking about the second edition of Book Brahma Literature Festival to be held in Bangalore from 8th to 10th of August. Satish Chapparike is a bilingual writer, accomplished journalist, and the founder director of the Book Brahma Literature Festival, a premier literary event that celebrates the richness and the diversity of Indian languages and voices. As a festival director, he is widely recognized for curating inclusive multilingual spaces that bring together writers, readers, publishers, translators, and cultural thinkers from across the country. Hailing from coastal Karnataka and globally trained as Chevening Scholar at the University of Westminster, Satish seamlessly blends rural rootedness with global perspective in both his literary work and curatorial practice. He is an acclaimed Kannada writer and the winner of the Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award. His latest novel, Gandruk, has made a notable impact in the Kannada literary world and is now published in Telugu and Malayalam, with Tamil and Kannada translations slated for release in October 2025. A seasoned journalist, Satish has worked with leading publications and channels such as Prajavani, TV9 Kannada, and The Sunday Indian. Satish is the founder of Book Brahma Digital Media, a leading Kannada literary platform that supports books, authors, and publishers. His work as a writer, editor, and festival curator reflects a deep commitment to language equity, cultural dialogue, and literary innovation. In this episode, he spoke about the vision of Book Brahma Foundation, learnings from the previous edition, and highlights of the upcoming edition. Welcome to Harshneam Podcast, Satish.
Thank you, Anil.
So, to start with, what is the core vision behind Book Brahma Festival? And from conceptualizing to holding event last year, which was a roaring success, I gather. Would you please share the experience?
Basic idea of the Book Brahma Literature Festival is to create a space for Indian languages, and especially for South Indian languages, because the four South Indian major language, we have hundreds of languages in South India, but if you consider only major four languages, uh, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, and Malayalam, the contribution of these four languages for the world literature is from last more than 2,500 years is par or above to compare to any other language in the world. And we have a legacy, we have a history, and we have contributed a lot to the world literature. And only the reason people cannot read and people cannot understand these languages, so that is not that's the reason it is not crossed the borders or the oceans. In some cases it has crossed, in many cases it has not actually. After Banu Mushtaq and Deepa Bhasti got the Booker, uh, people are just trying to understand what's there in South Indian languages. But if you ask me, I can give you minimum 100 titles like that, like Heartland to the world literature, and all of them are modern classics, or the classics uh, from last 100 years in all four languages, can be par with any other world class literature, which we always go back to, from Shakespeare to Salman Rushdie to those who write in English actually. And other reason is, the thing is, even in India we have hundreds of literature festival happening from Jaipur to uh, Thiruvananthapuram. In almost all the cases, the prominence or the mm, importance is given to English writers and people who can write in English. That actually gives a, what do you say, a, it's a myth. Indian literature is not English literature. Indian literature is in Indian languages. We always respected the other languages, and English is a bridge language between India and to the world. So we do have a lot of respect for English literature, because most of our great writers have read English literature from last 150 years, and they got a lot of inspiration from that uh, language also. But if you come back to the roots and the uh, native content and the strength of Indian language literature, is not so easy to understand. That's the reason what we thought, let's create a vibrant space where we can celebrate, we can promote, and we can introduce Indian languages to the world via a big platform called Book Brahma Literature Festival.
Okay. Now, South Indian languages, right? We have our own distinct literary landscape, each language that you mentioned. And how does Book Brahma Festival balance these individual linguistic literatures while also bringing in shared South Indian literary identity?
And you're right. We, as four languages, if we consider four languages, we have our own identities. In the meantime, we do have umbilically connected all four
Correct.
languages, because all four languages comes from same root, Dravidian root. And if you take four languages, we can say Kannada and Telugu are very close. Tamil and Malayalam are very close to each other. But if you take South India as a whole, with five states and a union territory now, we always feel that we belong to each other. See, for example, if you come to Bangalore or Hyderabad, see, people will never, what do you say? They will not, with the language, they will not demark other person. I'm staying in Bangalore. My mother tongue is Kannada. I can understand, speak little bit Telugu. I can understand Malayalam and Tamil. In the same way, I think I'm sure you are also going to understand four or five languages from South India. This is the beauty of the South Indian languages. If you take England and France, you can understand the French and the rivalry of French and English. If you take that in one hand, and other hand, the brotherhood of or sisterhood of these four languages in South India, uh, you can you can see the difference. So we always accommodate each other. We always try to understand each other. There is a lot of give and take happened in between languages in terms of literature also from last, I think, 100 years. So we want to keep each individual language's identity, and also we want to create one place where all the languages and all the this, I told you know, the brotherhood or sisterhood of these four languages. See, we always behave like same. We never behave differently. Culturally, we don't behave differently. Literally, we have identity, but we love each other. We want to take one good title or one good book to other languages. From it is not happening from now. It is happening from last 150 years in the south of India's. So that's the keeping the identities of each languages. We want to create a very vibrant and very, what do you say? There's a space where we can all come together, converse with each other, and understand each other more, and create something better than what we have created from last 2,500 years.
Last year you started Book Brahma. That is the first year that you started. So, can you share some of the experiences, or I would say, certain things which you thought you can improve upon? What was the overall experience? How was the overall experience?
Book Brahma Literature Festival is organized by a foundation called Book Brahma Foundation. When we thought about a literature festival earlier, first we thought about a literature festival in Bangalore and Karnataka and in Kannada. Then we thought, let's bring all of us together. So that's the idea we had. And what happened is, uh, it, the idea was very small when we started, and it became too big when it ended in last year. And more than 400 plus authors from South India, and and performers, because this Book Brahma Literature Festival is not just literature. We have art, we have performances, we have cultural activities, and we have everything in it. It is bringing the whole South together, and celebrating our art, literature, and culture together. Even the core is literature, we cannot separate literature away from the society and away from the art and culture also. It's a part of the culture of that land. So keeping that in mind, we designed the, we call it as a BBLF, Book Brahma Literature Festival, in such a way that there is a space for a performer, a cultural performance, and also an artist. Last year we had a art exhibition and sale. So we are trying to bring people together uh, with literature and language and culture. Maybe this is the first time an attempt has been made to bring people together with art, literature, and culture in whole of India. I don't know what's happening in the uh, other countries, but in India, this is the first attempt we are doing. And if you, for your question, I think we are successful. That's the reason we are talking today. Or else you would have not given a space for us.
No, no, no. No, it was even in Telugu land, it was received very, very well, very, very well. Everybody spoke glowingly about it. It was wonderful, actually.
That doesn't mean that we are 100% conquered it. I think we got first class 60%. There is a lot of scope for improvement.
What are the areas you thought you have to improve?
See, thing is, maybe design factor. We have to design it in a more meaningful way and more interactive way. Last year it was almost, it is not interactive way. This year we are adding that. For example, this year we have a very interesting and very, what do you say, attractive session, or we in a literary festival we call it as a vertical. It's called Mukhamuki, where a known author will sit with a small bunch of readers directly. There won't be light, there won't be mic, there won't be action, there won't nothing. He will directly converse with the readers, a small bunch of readers. And this is an added thing now, because I always believe, or we always believe, author has to have a direct contact with the readers. Then only an author can grow. This year that is an added attraction. Last year we failed in children lit fest. This year we are organizing in a very bigger way. And last year we also had a publisher conclave. This year the publisher conclave is more meaningful and more bigger than the last year. And we thought, let's give little more space for all other languages. So instead of one vertical, we have two verticals for language sessions now. Another thing I want to point out here, in Book Brahma Literature Festival, a Telugu session happens in Telugu, and a Tamil session happens in Tamil, and Kannada, Malayalam happens in their own languages. But there is no translation, and there is no translator who will try to mess up with whatever the author says. What we believe is, the thing is, last year, for example, even though we are four languages or 100 languages in South India, we all can understand our feelings. If I go and sit in a Malayalam or Tamil session, I can really understand the pulse of it. That's important. So that's the reason we said, we got a lot of suggestion. Why not we have a moderator or a person who can actually translate and convey it to the larger audience? What we say is, let those larger audience know, let them little bit understand the other language also. We want to break that thing, always keeping English as a bridge between these four languages. That's the reason. For example, uh, literary giants like Perumal Murugan, if he speaks in Tamil, I want people to sit and listen and try to understand it. For example, we understand music without a language barrier. For me, literature is also another form of music where you can understand uh, or get the pulse of what that particular creative person tried to convey. That's the reason we said no translator, or not no translation in Book Brahma Literature Festival.
Now, that brings me to the question of translations. This translation among South Indian languages, I'll stick to that because we are talking about South Indian languages. You have been in the literature space for the last 4 decades. So, what role do you think a translation play?
It plays a very big role within our own language, and from our own Indian language to the world stage. It plays a very big role. But I have my own opinion about it. For example, if you ask me whether Heartland should go from Kannada to Telugu via English, I say no. It should go from Kannada to Telugu, Kannada to Tamil, Kannada to Malayalam. In the same way, K.R. Mira's one of the novel should come directly from Malayalam to Kannada, Telugu, and Tamil. But I'm not against these titles or these works should getting translated into English, because we have only one window, that is English. Through that we can reach to Spanish, Arabic, Japanese, Chinese, Mandarin, the biggest world's biggest languages. I'm okay with that. If you want, if you ask me to read the word, I'll take the English route. If you ask me to take the go to the South India, I from directly from Bangalore, I want to come to Hyderabad. I don't want to go to London and come back to Hyderabad. And again, there are a lot of efforts that have been made. For example, in Hyderabad, there is a publication house called Chaya and Aju Publication. They are both together. They are started pulling some young translators from their own language. Those translators, they started very seriously. They started taking a course and creating a course and attracting the youngsters who can directly translate from Telugu to English, and also some youngsters, they are ready to translate it from Telugu to Kannada, Kannada to Telugu, like this. These efforts, there is going to be a collective effort from Book Brahma and our own partners like Chaya and Aju and DC Books and Kalachuvadu and Ankita and Now Karnataka, Sapna. So we want to create a pool of young translators who can directly translate from an Indian language to Indian language, and also from Indian language to English. Through that, we want to cross the border or the ocean.
Right. Wonderful. Sticking to the translations, do you have any sessions planned for translation, discussions about translations and all that?
Yeah. There are. I think the, because of the success of Heartlamp and Banu Mishrak and Dibha Basti getting the Booker, the whole team itself is now how to read the word via translation. And this year's theme is mother and mother tongue. This year, Book Brahma Lit Fest theme is mother and mother tongue. And we have to keep our mother and mother tongue safe. In the meantime, we have to reach out to the world also. So we do believe translation is the only way to reach the world. We encourage it. In the meantime, we have to keep our identities, and we have to uh, give a lot of importance for our own creative work, Indian language, literature. So we are very clear about all these things.
Right. So you have sessions on translations as
Yeah,
well.
we have sessions about translation in all 3 days, and also we are going to seriously discuss about that in the publisher conclave.
Publisher complete. Nice. Now, as I said, you have been in this literature space for a very long time. So, do you see any particular trends or emerging voices that you have noticed in South Indian literary landscape over the last few years? Any emerging trends?
Yeah, yes, I have seen it. Especially, see, if you go back up to 90s and 2000, uh, people thought that literature is belongs to the people who are in academics. That trend is completely going out. If one person who is a mechanical engineer, he can do a podcast about literature, and another person who is something else, he can write one of the Telugu's bestseller, 2 lakhs copies sold. And another person who is not at all a literature student, he can write a novel and it is getting translated into 7 languages in Indian languages. So thing is, even in, if you could take all these 4 languages, there are new voices which actually, they're not traditionally from academics, they are from engineering, they are from the professional courses, but they are becoming a very noted and very serious writers in all 4 languages, poets, novelists, short story writers.
You have Vivek Shanbaga and Vasudendra, both of them. Yeah, they're from IT background.
Vivek Shanbhag is a marketing background, and Vasudendra is IT background. And even in Telugu, it's happening. Even Malayalam also it's happening. And for example, in Tamil, there is a new crop. I'm not worried about their age, but I'm not bothered about their age, but I'm really happy that they're coming from different fields. That is a very very welcoming sign in terms of the literature, especially Indian language literature. This is happening in, if you go to Marathi, because this year Marathi is one of the invited language in the Book Brahma Literature Festival. We want to invite one Indian language from north of India every year. This year we have invited Marathi. Next year we may call for Bengali, like that we want to call, and we have Marathi sessions here in Marathi. I don't think we no literature festival will dare to do it. We are doing it. The idea is bring the, see, it's very easy to divide this society. You can only unite this society with art and culture and literature. Another dangerous thing is that that can divide or unite a society, but we don't want to take that path. That's called religion.
Looking ahead, what are your aspirations for the Book Brahma Festival? Are there any new directions or expansions you envision for its future?
See, Book Brahma Literature Festival is not belonging to Book Brahma Foundation. It belongs to the world and of literature, and especially which belongs to South Indian literary fraternity. So we do have some very good partners. Partners means not in business level, in terms of thought process, in terms of the vibe, and in terms of the what we think about the future of Indian literature. And if you ask me, in October we are having a Book Brahma Literature Festival in Hyderabad.
Oh, nice.
And same way we have got an invitation from uh, Tamil Nadu, and we also got a Kerala. Maybe we'll have a smaller version of Book Brahma Literature Festival there. And it is like there are a lot of small streams coming together and forming a one big river, ending and going and touching the ocean. Our idea is uh, we want to become that a river where all the streams can come and join. So according to me, the ocean is the world literature. We can go and touch it and be part of it. That's the idea. And another thing is, within, I think, maybe 5 years or 10 years, Book Brahma, along with our partners, again I'm telling you, they are not our business partners, they are partners in terms of our thought process. And we want to take at least 100 modern classics from four languages, or languages from South India, to the world stage, via first getting it translated to English, from English to Spanish, Arabic, and Japanese, and maybe Chinese Mandarin if they like it. Like that, we all has to take the Indian language to the world stage, and I think Book Brahma is going to play a major role in it. That's our idea.
Now, what role does the younger generation play in the festival's vision? I could see, from the social media and all that, there is a lot of people who are participating, in Book Burma Foundation and working very hard. So, what role does the younger generation play in the festival's vision, and how do you encourage their engagement with the regional literature?
See, the entire BBLF is managed and executed by young volunteers, and all of them are very much interested in literature, art, and culture. So, see, if you allow them to have an interaction with the giants of the South Indian literature, automatically there will be little bit of ripple effect. Through that, we want to bring the younger generation, and that's the reason we are very serious about the Children Lit Festival in Book Brahma this year. And and the next stage, Book Brahma is having a big project of inculcating art, literature, culture in the government schools in Karnataka. Hopefully to all other five states in South India. See, the thing is, if you inculcate this art, literature, and culture mindset in a very young age, automatic what now the non-profit organizations doing, they'll create some libraries in schools, they'll construct very beautiful buildings, but again people, the kids will be forced to take more marks and more grades and everything. In our case, we have to make them to interact with the literature in a very young age, so that, see, even in general, there will be people who are interested in literature is maybe 10-20% in the whole lot. Even if you keep that lot in future, that's good for this society.
Right.
There is
Absolutely.
a say that when the books die, humanity dies in this world.
No question. Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, we think that the society which is now evolving, we think that especially Indian society, making money and having a bungalow, four cars and three apartments and a big building and lot of assets is life. We take example of West and we take example of Middle East. Believe it or not, a government like UAE has spent $3 billion to construct a one library in Dubai. That means even the people who have money, they are going back towards the literature, art, and culture. That is the only path you can take. I don't mind people making money, people concentrating their on lavishness and big things in life. But in the meantime, if they can't have that 20% or 10% of this sense, no, there is no meaning for life. I'm not saying we are all in the same field and we will be almost 80% will be in this only literature, art, and culture. I don't want everyone be like us. At least 10 to 20%. If you can't have a small 100 books library in your house, having a 20 room bungalow is, there is no meaning for that bungalow. And people are having a maybe a bar counter in every house, and people wants to have a private theaters in their house. Why can't they have 100 books? Even if their kids pick 10 out of 100 books and read, that's good for their own kids.